It's very interesting article which has been explained. It's taken from a commentary by Sally Colhon. It says that we have to transfer from chemistry oriented agriculture to the biology oriented agriculture. What does that mean? And how is it important for our agriculture paper 1, that is in agronomy in UPSC optional, that we are going to discuss comprehensively this particular article. See, the title for this article is that from chemistry to regeneration, agriculture's next transformation. This is article by Sally Colhon. Basically, the article talks about we have to shift from chemistry, that is a chemical oriented, to give the chemical like the NPK or some other fertilizers, pesticide, in order to gain the higher productivity. We have to shift from the that approach to biology. तो क्या पे फोकस करना है, अपन को बायोलॉजी पे फोकस करना है, एंड दैट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. Why that is important? That background has been given by this in this article. See, green revolution came not only in India but across the world, as we know, right? So that has led to increase in the yield, no doubt. We brought ourselves to the food sufficiency, definitely. However, that high use of synthetic fertilizer, pesticide, has created many issues that we are going to discuss. So what green revolution brought was the use of the chemical, use of monocropping, and the short term productivity focused crops like high yielding varieties of wheat we have introduced in India, Sonara, these all things. Next what comes is that what kind of crisis is brought this kind of approach, and which needs us to go for a transition from chemistry to biology. What is the crisis? Yes, soil organic carbon is declining, nutrient imbalance is happening, groundwater depletion, as the recent reports also suggesting, especially in the Indo-Gangetic plain, there is a decline in the groundwater. At the same time, biodiversity is getting eroded, greenhouse gas emission from the agriculture, especially the methane, especially from the paddy farming, climate vulnerabilities, as the IMD report suggesting that the frequency of the droughts are rising, the predictability of the monsoon has become more and more what we can say that the difficult. Then declining factor productivity means what? The factor of production, for example labor, for example fertilizer and other input, their productivity, that is the per unit output from them, is declining. Then the input cost, seeds, fertilizer and those all things is rising. Then the farmers distress overall, as the NCRB data also suggests more than 10,000 farmers are committing suicide every year. These kind of things are creating the issue. Now what is the solution being suggested? The solution being suggested is nothing but the regenerative agriculture. What is regenerative agriculture? It is the form of agriculture which focuses on the restoration of the soil. So our focus will not be on the production centric approach, but the soil restoration centric approach. So this kind of restoration is ultimately going to ensure us the higher productivity, at the same time for the long term, that is sustainable agriculture. It will enhance the biodiversity, especially in the soil. It will restore the ecosystem services being provided by the different ecosystem component like water, soil, etc. Then it will build the climate resilience. That means even if the temperature is rising, it can help the crops to sustain that kind of rise in the temperature. The same time, it can reduce the dependency on the chemical, because we will be using the biological products, and that is our approach, going from chemical to the biology. What are going to be the core principles and the practices? Our core principle will rely on leaving root year round, that is in the soil the whole year there has to be the crop, the root should be there, right? For that, what practices we can apply? Like cover crops, we know like the cowpea and these all things we cultivate, जैसे कि soil में हमेशा roots रहे, and what they do is that they bind the soil, so it reduces the erosion and other thing. At the same time, we have to focus on mulching, residue retention, like we know that, right, that zero budget natural farming also ensures there should be around 30% of the residue in the soil. There should be the minimum soil disturbance, so the tillage should be minimum, zero tilling, zero budget natural farming. These all practices are required. Crop diversification is required. Agroforestry should be there, so that especially these leguminous trees, right, they can regenerate the nitrogen through the biological nitrogen transformation. Then the soil centric approach, which we have already discussed, using the biofertilizer, integrated nutrient management, crop rotation and other aspects. What benefits we expect? We expect from the two dimension. One is the ecological benefit, second is the economic and the social benefit. The ecological benefit is that it can increase the pollinator diversity, which is very important for the cropping pollination, right, natural pollination. Next is the water infiltration. If the soil is porous, soil is having the good structure, then the water can penetrate inside and the water table can be ensured, higher water table. Reduced erosion. If the soil structure are good, if it is having the living root, then it can reduce the soil from the water erosion or the wind erosion. Okay. Next is the improved nutrient use efficiency. The crops can utilize the nutrient in a more efficient manner. Landscape restoration. See, this is very important. We should not just focus on the farm. Current approach is that we should focus mostly on the farm, but this approach is going to take care not only about the crop but also the nearby ecosystem, for example forest, water resources and other aspects. So it will be more holistic. The economic and social dimension is that it will reduce the input cost, so the cost of production is going to decline. It can diversify the farm income. Okay, so the farmer won't be dependent only on one crop, so the more insurance would be there, right? Next, resilience production system. The production system can mitigate resilience against what? Against the climatic changes. Then the community based knowledge system. Policy gaps are there. This is the major hurdle actually. Our current policy is more oriented towards the chemistry, that is the chemical. As the recent budget 2026-27 in India gives almost around 1.7 lakh crore to what? For the fertilizers subsidy, right? That shows our focus. At the same time, our MSP policy is also oriented towards the some few crops like the wheat, paddy, which are again the resource intensive crops. Then the limited ecosystem service valuation. Some of the countries like Chhattisgarh have started the green GDP to calculate, to measure the ecological service given by the different ecosystem component like the forest. Our carbon markets are weak, as well as the access is less. Our farmers are responsible for the mitigation and adaptation to the climate change by cultivating the crops and the plants, right? However, they are not getting the benefit out of it in the form of the carbon credit. So that is also one of the issue. Next, insufficient extension support. That is, for transferring from the chemical based farming to the biological based farming, the extension worker has to play a very critical role. However, that support is insufficient. So what measures are required? The way forward is that the soil health based incentives we should give. Suppose one farmer is adopting the organic or the natural farming, there is a need to provide some kind of incentive, so that the farmer can transfer themselves from one form of agriculture to the another without having the substantial decline in their income. At the same time, there is a need for the carbon credit integration, especially for the small and marginal farmer. Long term field trials are required, not just short term, so that we can ensure the evidence based croppings, evidence based models of biological based cropping system and the farming systems. Digital soil monitoring, especially use of precision farming, so that we can exactly know what is the requirement of the chemistry, biology, other status of the soil and what is the need of the plant, and based on that we can provide the important the inputs to the plants. Farmer led innovations. In any research, even the ICR have adopted farmer centric approach. Our extension should be farmer centric, our research should be farmer centric. So if any new innovation, new project, new research is going on, let's make the farmer part of them. At the conclusion, we can say that the regenerative agriculture is the need of the hour in order to transform our agriculture for not only today but also in the future. That kind of agriculture going to ensure productivity, at the same time ecology and the resilience from the climate change. So this formula you can use in the conclusion. The future resource scope is there to develop the region specific regenerative model. So the model which is working in the Punjab may not work in the Chhattisgarh. So we need the specific research by the State Agriculture University in collaboration with ICAR as well as the KVKs and the farm bodies. So together, if they are able to develop the region specific model, that can ensure the long term sustainable agriculture, which is the need of our. Thank you so much for this discussion. If you want this PDF, it will be available in the Telegram channel. You can join this channel. Link is in the description box, as well as the article link will be provided there. Thank you so much.